tonight's event a little bit later, but I'd like to start by introducing the AAPA co-president, Jon M.
Thank you all so much for coming tonight. I know it's a late night on a school night, so thank you for joining us. Please thank our panelists for coming over here. You know, it's fantastic that they're all able to make it, and I'm sure you guys are in for a real treat tonight. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on AAPA, or APA. We've been around, this is our 24th year here in Cupertino. And we started because 24 years ago, Asian parents in Cupertino were a minority. And we felt that we needed an organization of our own to really make our voices heard. Now, 24 years later, we are no longer a minority here in Cupertino. So the question is, you know, do we still need an Asian American Parents Association? And yeah, I think the answer is, you know, we had the superintendent come talk to us in the spring, and he said, look, Cupertino School District, Cupertino Union School District is in the bottom 5% of school districts in California when it comes to per pupil funding. So we get 25% more or less money per student than your average school district in California. Not to pick on one of our panelists, but for example, Saratoga gets about double the amount of money that we do per student. And you know, there are a lot of reasons for this, but you know, I think what the most important thing is it shows that, you know, you as part of the parent community here in Cupertino, we really need you, right? We really need you to advocate for our children. We really need you to participate in the process to make your voices heard, right? Because we have some of the best children in the country. We have some of the most supportive parents in the country. And we need to make sure that our children get the resources and support that they need. So we're very excited to see all of you come to events like this, to really participate in part of the civic process, and we're very grateful for that. And also, last, I'd like to just give a special thank you to everybody who donated. You know, these events would not be possible without the generous support of many donations. So really want to thank everybody who's supporting us. So thank you, and welcome to the AAPA family. So I'd just like to also especially thank all of our board members who are here tonight. You may have met some of them at registration. So I'm going to try to do it off the cuff, and hopefully I don't forget anybody. You guys have all met Jeff. Hung Wei, she's a longtime AAPA board member. Is a relatively new one here in Oregon. So we have Leanne Zhao. We have Sharon Lee. We have my wife, Emma. And we have our other co-president, Jerry Mock. So really, Jerry does a lot of the work here in the region. So in addition to that, we have, am I missing anybody who's here? If I am, I'm deeply sorry. But, oh yes, Kristen, yes, Kristen Lynn, yes. I apologize. Kristen Lynn has also been a long-time board member and a great supporter of AAPA. And then we also have a few board members who couldn't make it. So Jerry Liu and Satish Madhavel are also, they are in a very important board meeting tonight, so they could not make it. So, yeah. So Jeff, I'll hand it back to you.
Very well done, E, off the top of your head. That was really good. Caught you off guard there a little bit. Okay, we're ready to begin the main event. So we have a few questions prepared for the panelists, and we're going to ask them that we've given them ahead of time. So we're going to go through those prepared questions first, and then we're going to open it up to the audience after that. So let us go forth, and so I will start with introducing our panelists. So let me give a brief introduction. Starting on the far end, Karen Van Putten is Karen has worked in the public school education for 26 years with a passion for literacy and social and emotional learning. She's in her 4th year serving as principal of Argonaut Elementary, recognized as the 2018 National Blue Ribbon School located in Saratoga. Karen also served as principal at San Lorenzo Valley High School in Santa Cruz Mountains, assistant principal at Fremont High School. She began her teaching career in West Ottawa High School in Holland, Michigan as an English teacher. Karen graduated from Hope College with a BA in English and Sociology and secondary teaching credentials. She earned her MA from the Urban High School Leadership Program at San Jose State. Karen enjoys stand-up paddling on the ocean, competes in paddleboard races, and gives workshops for student groups and adults. She balances her professional life as an educator with her role as single mom of 1 daughter, a freshman at Los Altos High School, who keeps her young at heart. Karen Van Putten. And I'm going to go kind of out of order here because that's how I wrote it up. You didn't sit in the same order. I'm next going to go with Under Sheriff Rick Sung. So Under Sheriff Sung was born and raised in Seoul, Korea. His family immigrated to the U.S. and settled in Santa Clara County in 1987 when he was a teenager. Under Sheriff Sung holds a master's degree in human resources from Golden Gate University and a bachelor's of science degree in administration of justice from San Jose State University. After his undergraduate studies, Sheriff Sung was recruited by a Silicon Valley high-tech company where he worked in sales, marketing, and purchasing. After a few more years in high-tech, he decided to be his own boss, opening and running a series of restaurants. In 2002, Undersecretary Sung joined the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office to pursue his true calling. He worked in patrol, investigations, court security, and as the public information officer. As a captain, he served as commander of the headquarters patrol office in the West Valley Patrol Division, where he oversaw law enforcement services to the cities of Cupertino, Saratoga, and Los Altos Hills. In 2016, Under Sheriff Sung was promoted to the rank of Assistant Sheriff over the Support Services Bureau, overseeing personnel, training, compliance, and court security, as well as a captain assigned to Stanford University and Valley Medical Center. Under Sheriff Sung was appointed to his current position in July of 2018. Let's give a round of applause. And next, Carl Shan. Carl is a local native. He attended Miller Middle School, Lynbrook High School, and UC Berkeley, where he attained a degree in statistics. He started his career as a data science before making an unusual career transition, leaving his job to work as a high school teacher, which he did for 3 years. He has recently moved back into the private industry and currently works as a senior data scientist at LinkedIn. Carl also co-founded an education program called Arenda Academy, which coaches teens on self-awareness, mental health, motivation, and setting goals. His workshop for parents on how to communicate with their teens have been attended by over 500 Bay Area families. Carl Shan. born in southwestern Chinese province of Sichuan. Did I say that right? Okay, you all know. Raised in Taiwan and moved to Hong Kong in his teenage years. A few years later, he migrated to the U.S. He landed his first child in the U.S. 3 days after his arrival as a busboy at Trader Vic's restaurant in San Francisco. Larry attended school during the day, first in adult school to improve his English, then at community college where he studied architecture, later switching to photography. At night, he continued working at Trader Vic's, eventually getting promoted to waiter. Larry's father got into business himself, opening a small restaurant in Menlo Park called Mandarin House. Larry split his time between Trader Vic's and his father's restaurant, eventually going full-time at Mandarin House, where he learned the fundamentals of Chinese cooking from the head chef. In the summer of 1969, Larry met Ruth Ho, a Taiwanese immigrant. In January 1970, he opened Chef Chu's restaurant. Ruth helped in the restaurant from the very beginning. Later that year, they got engaged. In the following year, they married. Over the years, the restaurant grew and expanded, as did their family. Larry and Ruth have 5 children. Today, Chef Chu's continues to be a renowned Chinese restaurant. In addition, Larry has written 3 cookbooks, received numerous awards, conducted cooking classes, made TV appearances. He served heads of state, including Margaret Thatcher, Mikhail Gorbachev, and Jimmy Carter. Silicon Valley business leaders, including Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Jerry Yang, and celebrities such as Serena Williams, Jeremy Lin, Justin Bieber, and Jaden Smith. So, ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Chu. Very long-time member of AAPA and a friend of Lawrence Chu, would like to add a couple of words of introduction for Lawrence Chu. And, just a few minutes.
Hi everybody, my name is Barry Chen. I was the former mayor of the city of Cupertino, so welcome to Cupertino. There's no disrespect to the other 3, okay? Because my wife called me, say they would like to have this kind of seminar, unconventional job. So I suggest invite Jason Chu. Anybody know Jason Chu? Have you heard of Jason Chu? Okay, do you know the Crazy Asian movie? The director is Jason Chu. You know who is Jason Chu? It's Larry's son.
No. Jonathan Chu.
Okay, so and then we couldn't get, because Jonathan Chu was so busy after the crazy, Asian, crazy
rich Asian.
Yeah. So I told my wife, you better invite his father. Okay. It's more important than Jonathan Chu, right? Because he's the one producing Jonathan Chu, and besides, he has very successful Chef Chu's restaurant right under San Antonio and El Camino Real, right?
Thanks so much.
And then I just want to add one thing, okay? Larry likes to dance. He's good at the social dance. You don't know, okay? And then also adding, a lot of people don't know, making the movie or just actor can make a lot of money, okay? I have a good friend, his son was a child player in one of the movies. She told me even up to today, they still receive the royalty, okay? The revenue is still coming in. So just in case you don't know, don't just force your kids to become an engineer. Okay. They wanted to pursue other fields, let them do it. They want to become politicians like me, no money, okay? Encourage them to do it, okay? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're ready to start with our questions, and I'll just go, we can just go through these questions one at a time. And the first question is, describe the path that got you to where you are in your career. Can we start with Under Sheriff Sung?
Absolutely.
Is it working? How about the other one? Is that working?
That one's working.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. I'm sorry, I think I know pretty much everything but to turn on this microphone here, so sorry about that. Again, I'm Sheriff Rick Sung with the Sheriff's Office number 2, in case you forget my name, Rick Sung. 1997, sitting down in my house in Milpitas with my wife, we're thinking, okay, we could pay this house off and we can go out and buy like 3 more, right? And of course, when everything sounds too good to be true, it is, right? So then, when Steve Jobs came back, he took away the license. And then, of course, I did not have an opportunity to become a millionaire. This company actually got, our CEO got paid off, and then, of course, the company shut down, and then I went back to my own company. And that's when I decided to become my own boss. And I went out and opened my own restaurant business. I think you guys probably know, it's called Tofu House. And I know that having Chef Chu sitting right next to me and talking about running a restaurant, and I was a chef too, you know. So what got me where I am today? If I were you as a parent, I would encourage your kids to do anything and everything that they want to explore. Because whatever it is that you do in your life, before you finally do that, that true calling thing, law enforcement officer, is something that I really wanted to do, but I did get sidetracked because of money. It was really fascinating working in the high-tech sector, being my own boss, running a Korean restaurant, running 2 Japanese restaurants. So I've had 3 restaurants that I ran before the age of 30, but not as young as you, Chef Chu. But all those experiences, though, that got me an invaluable lesson everywhere I was. As a person working in high tech, marketing and sales, know how to communicate with people, know how to take care of people, running my own business. Now I got a sense of how to look at the global picture as opposed to just doing my own job. And so when I finally joined the Sheriff's Office at the age of 30, so this was back in 2002, so now you know how old I am. So that's when it got me ready to do my job as a law enforcement officer, as a deputy sheriff, serving our great, wonderful West Valley communities here, city of Cupertino, Saratoga, and Los Altos Hills. Because I know that serving our community is very important with all those lessons that I've learned. And of course, a lot of people are saying, why are you doing such a dangerous job? But you know what? Being a law enforcement officer, it really is not that dangerous. Did you know that the electrician is like #1 dangerous job can ever have in the US? It is true, right? And the loggers and everything else. But those are basically the things, as a parent, things that I would like you to keep in mind. And of course, a lot of folks that are here are much older than I am and have probably raised more kids than I have. I got 3 kids. But encourage them to do anything. If they want to go out and work at the flea market, let them do it. If they want to go work at McDonald's, let them have it. Because all of those things will build a solid foundation for your kids. Whatever and wherever it is that they do what they want to do is going to really, really help them. So that'll be my 2 cents. Thank you.
All right, I feel like I'm in the very early stages of the journey. I'm working in high tech right now. I haven't opened any tofu houses yet, but maybe that'll be my chapter 2. All right, hello everybody. My name is Carl. like was mentioned, I am a Bay Area local. I grew up here. I went to Miller Middle School and Lynbrook High School. Just by show of hands, how many parents have kids who go to Miller or Lynbrook? Do you mind raising your hand? Okay, great. That's like 20, maybe 20 families or so. So I went to high school, and I did not like school. I did not like Lynbrook High School, especially. It was very competitive. It was a lot of pressure. It was very focused on math, science, engineering, none of the subjects at the time I was very interested in. And so high school to me was really boring, it was very disappointing, and I spent a lot of my time playing video games, which, raise your hand if you feel like your kids play too many video games. So, the story from there is I went to college, I did go to UC Berkeley where I studied statistics, and that's a major that sounds really great and lucrative, but my very first major when I got to college, the thing I thought I was going to study was actually philosophy. I wanted to figure out the meaning of life. And then I took a philosophy class, and it was terrible. That was not the major for me, unfortunately, but I had a number of friends point me in the direction of math, and I found college-level math to be much more interesting than high school math. High school math is you memorize formulas and you apply them. College-level math I found to be more stimulating because you were asked to actually think really deeply about really hard problems, and I found it much more interesting. So I ended up majoring in statistics. I graduated college, and it was mentioned that I worked in data science and I was a programmer my first job out of college, and that's true. But what wasn't said was when I graduated college, what I thought I was going to do, I had gotten a few job offers to do this, is I thought I was going to become a high school teacher. I had gotten a job offer to become a math teacher in San Jose, as well as a math teacher in Boston, and that was my initial idea. And then I got my salary, and I shared that information with one of my friends in college, and he said, "Carl, that's really low. I'm being paid like 3 times more than you in my first job." And I was like, I really like teaching. And I was thinking really hard about it, but I said, you know what, how about this? I'll go work in a more traditional job for a few years, and if I don't like it, I'll go back to being a teacher. So that's what I did. I worked as a software engineer for 2 years, 2.5 years, and I still realized I wanted to teach, and so I quit that job, which was very, very hard for my parents to understand at the time. I quit that job, and as I quit the job, I got a letter in the mail that told me I had just been accepted into Carnegie Mellon's Masters in Machine Learning and Artificial Intelligence with a scholarship. And that was if I was going to keep on pursuing the engineering route. But because I was really thinking hard about it, is this what I want to do? I don't really know. I think I want to explore a little bit. So I turned down that scholarship and the acceptance letter, which made my dad very upset. I quit that job and I started volunteering at a local public elementary school where my brothers were going at the time as a teacher aide to kind of see, do I think I like this? And after a few months of being a teacher aide, I realized I really like this. And I ended up finding a computer science teaching spot at a high school in San Mateo. So I taught there for 3 years. It's probably the best job I will ever have. I have many stories about that. And I also started an after-school program when I was a teacher. I taught a lot of soft skills and a lot of topics that no teacher ever taught me in school at Lynbrook. For example, when I was in high school, I took AP Calculus, AP Literature, AP Chemistry. But if I really think about it, I don't use any of those topics day to day. I wish a teacher taught me a class like, how do you find your values? How do you find what your priorities are in life? Is your priority money? Is your priority your family? Is your priority, your friends? What are your priorities? What are your values? And nobody teaches in class like that. But I would have really benefited from that. I use my values to make a lot of my career decisions, a lot of my life decisions. I don't use AP Chemistry, but AP Chemistry is what is taught and what people sign up for. So the after-school program that I ran, we taught those sort of topics that you never find in school, but everybody agrees is very important in life. And so I did that for 3 years as well. I still do a little bit of that on the side. But after 3 years of teaching at my high school, I decided that I wanted to experience certain things that my high school wasn't giving me, and so I quit that job this past year, and I recently started a new job working again in the tech sector. And who knows, maybe I'll also start a restaurant as well.
You already know I came to America. I started as a busboy. I worked my way up as a waiter. Eventually, I knew I want to be somebody. You know why? I love to talk. I love to eat. I love meeting people. I like to be creative. As you know, I was majoring in architect. Of course, I failed. Otherwise, I won't be here. And before I forgot, let me tell you, and many of you probably had the same feeling I had. I came to America, was 20. I can't go to high school because of overage. You can't get up in college because English no good. You know, so I was in that situation. That reminds me, my father told me, America is the best country, rich in land, product, and opportunity, where people can work very hard. With a little bit of luck, your dream can come true. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the oldest one in this room as I look around. I came here was 20. Right now, I'm 76. Never done my hair. As I stand right here, listen to under Chef and Carol talking, I tell myself how lucky I am. How lucky you are. I came in here because I want to be here. As I was born in China, I was educated and raised in Taiwan. Where in Taiwan, we are not rich, but we're very happy. Because we have almost everything you need. We have good school, we go to school, we learn, not just to respect the teachers, respect the scholar, we respect the elderly, and also we learn family value. So we only teach you a couple of things. The family is your parents, your father, your mother. Because we came from mainland China, Taiwan. We're so busy, everybody's busy to make something. But you know what? In school is where people love each other. But you know what? We learn the basic. We're very patriotic. We knew we live in Taiwan. We all have to help each other. We have to go to, so-called military service. We protect our life. We learned at our age, we want to protect it. We want to go wherever we live. Even in America, we love the country we live. We parents should teach us the family value, the heritage from Asia, wherever you come from. I mean, it's funny, and I give a lot of talk after Crazy Rich Asian. And then we cry together, we do all different things, a lot of good questions, a lot of stupid answers. But we all fully understand one thing. We're so lucky living in America. So back right here, how I actually did my business. I was, again, can we say you're damn lucky? Yes, I am damn lucky. I met my wife, 1969, in the summer. She's only 19 years old. I'm already 25. I'm an old man, according to her. By the way, she may not always be right. She never wrong. I didn't know that at the time, and now I know. And so if you live in America, you know that. Have your wife, have a life. And when you reach 76, if you don't learn that, you're never going to be rich like me. I drive the best car in the world. Live in Los Altos under chef's protection. I'm so lucky. So, but before I forgot, I'm just telling you, Johnson could call me. I want to thank you for those who watch it, Crazy Rich 3 times. Raise your hand. Anybody watch it, Crazy Rich 3 times? Raise your hand. 3 times, not 2 times. How am I doing? Thank you so much. You're the one. You're the one that make us stronger best. Crazy Asian, Rich Asian has break all kind of records. I'm not going for that. I'm just telling you, John do extremely well. They make a lot of money, but that money is not what John wanted to do. John wanted all Asian, the people. Let me ask this: how many people actually watch Crazy Rich Asian. And he's like, very good. 9 out of 10. You know, and people ask me, what was the next one? The rich chance girlfriend, or the rich people's problem. Not yet. John was so busy that 4 or 5 different movies, that's what it directed. You know, so he's doing very well. But what we come here is not how much money you make. It's really how do you teach your next generation. Because you're the first generation here. You don't speak the language. You have to, you got your hometown worry. You worry about the baby, you're starving. You better go to better school. You better get a better job. We'll talk that a little bit later. I'm stopping right here. The only reason I get in the restaurant business, as I said before, I love to talk, I love to eat all that stuff. Of course, ultimately, like the money. And then I look at around, and all the restaurants around, they are not a professional around the restaurant. They're mama papa restaurant. They come in just for temporarily to make a living, and then move on to something else. I thought I can do something. Actually, my idea is like a Panda Express. Only different, I was 13 years earlier than Panda Express. I told my wife, I remember very clearly, maybe that's the reason she married. I told my wife, I have a dream. First one to be so good English. I have a dream. What do you dream? It sounds very familiar. I said, I want to open a Chef Chu restaurant every corner in America. Every corner in America. Whoa. You know, 19 years old girl is very easy. She's not in the business. But she definitely look at me. I was young then. I was pretty good looking for Chinese. You take up all that, you know, important part of it. I told him, I say, you know, I want to open every restaurant in the corner in America like a saving loan. God bless me. If you're saving loan, I'm really close. There's no saving loans in one bank anymore. I even have a sticker saying, support local Chef Chu. I'm going to stop right here, you know, and the sheriff will look at me. How long you talk? You may talk about 3 hours. So I stop right here. I'm so lucky to be here to share part of my business. When you, whatever you have questions, ask me. I will give you as much as I know direct to you. Okay, here we go.
I feel like this is just a talk story tonight. I feel very much at home with 3 fellows to my right because I grew up.
Carl, why do you want to live your life the way that you want to live your life? And so I think when we shared more, it became much easier for us to understand each other, and that barrier became a source of support. My parents now say to me things like, well, you know, Carl, it's your life, so it's your choice to choose, you know, what you want to do. Our advice is that you do this, but it's your choice in the end. And I really respect that. I think that is much more healthy, and I feel like I respect my parents when they say that, and not, you know, get frustrated like I used to when I was younger, when they would say, oh, you have to do this. This is the only way to do things. And so I'm very grateful for that. And the final thing I'll say that if you listen to my story, you might sense is something I feel very grateful for in being able to achieve what I've achieved is I feel very lucky that I got to try many, many, many different things. I feel like I got a chance to go to a dim sum restaurant and like sample everything before I make a choice about what to do. I tried to study this, I tried to study that, I tried this job, I tried that job, I did this internship, I traveled to this country. And when I got the chance to try a lot of different things, it just gave me more perspective, but it also just made me realize how lucky I was in many ways, how grateful I should be. And if I didn't try many of those things, I would never know. If I just, you know, went to Limbrook, studied math, got into the best college I could, studied engineering, became a programmer, I think there would always be a part of me that would ask, but what about these other jobs? What about these other things I kind of like? If I never tried them, that voice never goes away, and I maybe don't feel as happy or as motivated in doing the work that I do. So I feel very lucky that I got a chance to try many different things, and that is something I hope many parents also keep in mind. Maybe you don't agree with your child's choice, but instead of seeing it as, oh, they're doing to do that for the rest of their lives, maybe they're going to do that for a few months, maybe a few years, and they'll learn something from it that other people who don't do that will never learn, and that's actually more valuable. So that's just what I want to share.
Excellent, Karen. And yes, I'm very lucky. You know, I got my wife. And then the first test, I go see the parents. And after a few conversations, and my father-in-law, they say, you have a PhD, do you? I said, no, I don't have a PhD. He said, you do have a PhD. And in the old days, people come to Taiwan, they're all coming for, looking for PhD. They all graduate from college. Nobody can escape. They don't know I'm the one of the 100,000 people escaped from Taiwan. Actually, I went to Hong Kong and come to America. I don't have a PhD. You see, keep saying you do have. That's what I mean. Are you poor? I said, I am poor. Are you hungry? I am. And now I understand. I say, also, I'm desperate for your daughter. For some reason, the word goes on, everybody call me Dr. Chu. Just for those who are one of them, I mean not Dr. Chu, I'm not PhD in medical or something, but I'm doing, working very hard. And then the poor, hunger, and determined is one of the motivation for the people to go on for our way to do. Being here, not speak the language, coming is 21 years old. Look around, God, it's a new country to me. But you know what? From everything I was in Taiwan and I was in junior high school, we love America. America is our destiny, final destination. Because we look at it, we read all, we listen to the American music. Diana, are you too young? Diana, Pebun, all the music, the dance, we love it. We don't pay mahjong. We're the modern Chinese. Right? I mean, the different generation. I'm speaking for them. Maybe a little bit older than the very. The people older ones will understand what I'm saying. I don't do mahjong. You can't do mahjong in Taiwan. But you have to go to school and you have to working hard. You can do a lot of things. But what we learn one thing, which is not in school, the spirit of overcome the problems. This is the reason why the last 20, 30 years in Silicon Valley, many engineers made it. There's no, and I look at it, what's the barrier? There's no barrier, there's no obstacle. You know, the sky's the limit. You must have that in mind. If fail, do it again. That's what we taught when we were young. When in Taiwan, we got nothing. We got the surplus, we also got some flour, surplus, and corn from the United States. That's what's so healthy. Somebody says it look good. You know, so I love America. I want to come to America. So when we come to a country, where is your dream country, which is you want your dream come true, you should be happy with it. Don't complain. You are a refugee. 25 years ago, when the war on Vietnam War is over, a lot of people come in, take advantage of it, which is America, so great. They gave you all this. And then people from Taiwan, people they also too smart. They start taking that advantage. Oh yeah, pula by pula. If you don't take it, you waste it. You might as well get it. That kind of attitude is terrible. What is community? Community is you and me all together. So stop right here. Back in my restaurant, doing very well. What did I say? I was Penta Express. I was 13 years earlier. We find out it doesn't work. 6 months later, our business dropped. My wife had a quick school. Can you imagine? Beautiful girl, 20 years old. Must be 6 months later, he's 20 years old already. She has under parent permission to quit school. Today, my daughter asked me to do that. I said, no way. You go to quit school. You're helping the girl, boyfriend only know for a month. Then my wife said, this is the time he need me. You know, it's very important. You have to explain the reason why. If I don't help him now, if it failed, he blame on me. If he made it, he also blame on me. So you gotta let me go. My father-in-law, that's what you say, he checked, the first thing he checked with me, make sure I have a PhD. So he is ahead of us already. That's what it is. He already ahead of all of us because he knew you do not need a PhD. You do not need all the SAT, all that stuff. Science, you don't need it. All depends what you need. So with that in mind, my wife, which is 7 years, give me 5 kids. That's her job. My job is a boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. That's my job. But she had to raise 5 kids in 7 years, and is so lucky again. So lucky. We changed our restaurant style instead of fast food into sit down and eating place in the very beginning, the eating place. We able to communicate with the customer. We cook for you. You tell me what you want to do. We'll cook for you. That model was good. We instantly succeeded. The media is so important. What you immediately understand. The restaurant review so important. Media, the movie, very important. So we've been jam-packed every day. And after we changed the model, become a smaller restaurant, not the fast food, not the PA, not the Panda Express. 13 years later, PA and then the Panda Express come in, even across the street is Panda Express street. What happened to McCready? He did a great job. Anyway, so I don't tell the truth, I don't have an obstacle. My kids might have an obstacle. And all my kids, they're all educated the same way, they all go to private school, not because I got money, because I was busy to make a living. My wife is busy to take care of 5 kids. So he must go to in the private school so he can watch closely. We believe watching kids closely. And the parents have to do their job. Whereas, and the family value, just to teach them by the parents. Who can teach your family value? The heritage. My son tell me, crazy rich Asian. Crazy, it's not mentally crazy. I'm crazy, I'm 76 years old, still sit here to tell you about the family value. You're crazy, man. You go back your passport, you wait there. You made money, so what? You're not educated. But that's not important, It's very important that you understand it. When you're passionate, you really want to do something, now you can do it. Because that's something you enjoy it. Not because your cousin, your relative is going to Stanford, you must go to Harvard. You know what happened? It turns out he's committed suicide. Too much pressure. You let them enjoy the journey while in the study. My kids are teenagers. They know everything. They do everything. In the summer, he do one sport, and in the winter, do one small. He do 4 or 5 sports. And my son's 6 foot 3 tall, and a student money president. Let them be. Let them be. You are American. Don't think of you are Asian. You are Asian American. AA. We're the AA parents. So you have to understand that. Oh, what you know? You don't come to America. My father told me in the very beginning, he said, America is a poor man's country. You're poor, you come here. Rich, don't come here. There's those who dress for the rich people from China. If you're rich, what do you come here for? Take advantage of school here? Or what do you want? So if you really come here, you love the country. No, you're all just tourists. I'm not talking about tourists. I'm thinking your kids go to school right here. You have to know the country. It's a country by everything. But to go to Hong Kong, they don't understand. I lived in Hong Kong for 3 years. I lost. We don't have every morning go to school to raise the flag. I don't have a principal talk about it, patriotism, to the country. No. They lost the people in Hong Kong. Look at people in Hong Kong today. What they're doing. They still think of the colonists. They still think about British. They're crazy people. I'm sorry. I tried to subjugate. I'm sorry.
Hard to follow you, Chef Chu.
Love America.
So I thought about this barriers and challenges, and I have to put on the table that the traditional attitudes toward women or girls and the traditional attitudes and expectations of women and girls, I'm caught. I was raised in the 70s and the 80s, and I consider myself somewhat of even though I was born here, a second generation American, Asian American, I call myself a 1.5 generation because my parents were so engrossed in the traditional. I even dare say and use the word misogynistic, this misogyny, this attitude of kind of a dislike or disrespect toward women. And the reason I bring that up is we as Asian people have to acknowledge that there is that tradition of kind of women being second-class citizens. But I think, luckily, as I teach my high school students when I was teaching at Saratoga High School, I saw the families shift. I saw the attitudes of girl children, female children, that they had every opportunity and that the parents were really, really giving their female daughters, female children, just as many opportunities to thrive and choose what they wanted to pursue. I got caught in that as an adult woman of perfectionism, that I had to be the perfect wife, I had to be the perfect teacher, the perfect, full-time working woman had to come home and also put out a meal, and then I had a child, and I had to be the perfect teacher, the perfect wife, the perfect mother. And so, speaking as a female, maybe it's not so much the Asian, I want us to kind of talk a little bit about, or just bring to surface this very debilitating goal of perfectionism. Our children, and many of our girl children, our female children, really feel like that they have to be perfect. I see it in my second grade girls, I see it in my fifth grade girls. I saw it at Saratoga High School with my honors English juniors. And they had such a pressure to have that perfect essay, to have the perfect AP Calculus exam score, to reach the perfect SAT score, to look perfect. Luckily, a dozen years ago, we didn't have Pinterest, we didn't have these apps that we have. My daughter now is growing up as a 14-year-old in this world where everything is instantaneous, and the number of likes can tell you whether you are worthy or not. So my barriers of being a middle, 30-something-year-old woman, 40-something-year-old woman at the time when I thought I had to do everything perfectly and nothing was perfect. My marriage failed because of my pursuit of what I thought the exterior world thought I had to be, and I wasn't meeting up to it. Something had to give. So I gave my all to my career, I gave my all to my daughter, and I couldn't give my all to the wife role. And I admit that to you guys because I have to deal with that, and that's part of the barrier and it's part of the challenge, but that's now my witness to you all and to the generation of young girls and college-age women and 20-something-year-olds who are venture capitalists trying to have it all. You don't have to have it all, but what you do have, treasure it and enjoy it, make time for yourself and self-care, because people will always want to take from you. People will always want more from you, but you have to have a sense of who you are before you give away who you are. So, as I raise my daughter alone, I do my best to shield her, and I do my best to not be one of those tiger moms. I am, so it's in my blood. But what I give to her is not so much that I push perfectionism, but I ask her to give it her all, to be committed. She's on the high school water polo team. I just went to her last league game. I go there and I cheer for her and I cheer for her teammates. I support her at home, trying to help her with her homework. But when she says, I don't need your help, I think, oh good, I can go to sleep. But there's a part of me that says, you don't need my help? As an Asian mom, I think, you must accept my help. We must get an A on this essay. But I have to give her the independence to earn the C occasionally, to fail occasionally, to not have a good game occasionally, but always be there as her mom and say, hey, I'll be here whether you win it or you lose it. I'm gonna be here, I'll feed you, I'll care for you. So, regardless of what ethnicity, let's take care of our girl children, certainly take care of our boy children too, but let's let go of this ideal, this false ideal that they must be perfect, that they must look beautiful and perfect and everything. Let them get dirty, let them try all kinds of things, let them fail, because the only way they're gonna learn to get themselves back up is by failing and making mistakes. And the main thing we have to support is when they do make a mistake, encourage them to just reflect on that mistake. How are you gonna do it differently? Because I made lots of mistakes. I tell my daughter, I tell my students all the time, I make mistakes all the time. This VP makes mistakes all the time. But what you have to do now from here is do it differently next time. So, yeah, there you go.
Thank you for Thank you for all of you. I sit right here, I listen to you as well. Gee, that's what I'm missing. All my, the 40, 50 years is working in the kitchen. Because I remember the money's hard to come in. But my kids never work in a restaurant because I don't want them to. Because restaurant business, I choose it. I don't want them to do it. They follow their dream, wherever they want to be. I'm sorry, a check. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I just want to really echo, Karen, what you said. I'm so glad you're on the panel and you shared that, you highlighted that focus on girls and the way that, not just Asian culture, but many cultures pressure girls. As a high school teacher, sometimes I would talk to my colleagues and I'd say, hey, do you notice that like in the class, like all the girls, especially many of the Asian girls, they're so well behaved, they're so quiet, they're so responsible, and the boys, they're kind of rowdy, they talk a lot, they mess around, they goof around. And we're okay with that. We let the boys be more silly, we let the boys make a little bit more mistakes, but we expect certain things of the girls. And we expect a lot more of them sometimes than we do of the boys. In schools, but in workplaces too. I have a coworker, she has 2 young boys, and at work, when she works with me, she's very, very good. She's one of the smartest and most hardworking people I've ever worked with. And then when she goes home, she has another job. She has 2 sons, 1 and 3. And I see her sometimes with her sons, and she is so busy. And in my head, I just see her as doing 2 jobs. At least when I go home, I get to just sit down and relax. I don't have to do anything. But oftentimes, women have to perform so many more roles as mother, as wife, as daughter, that have all these additional expectations with it. And I think I agree with you that I wish that we would be more okay with there being imperfections and being open to that. I feel like sometimes many parents are so worried about their kids being successful and doing the right thing that they don't let their kids fail. And from what I've seen of my classmates, when parents do that, when they're tiger moms or tiger dads, no matter their gender, what the kids grow up into is they grow up into glass. Glass looks very pretty. You can brag to your friends about this beautiful glass sculpture. But if you hit glass, it breaks. It's very brittle. It's very easy to shatter. And I wish more parents would be okay with letting their kids grow into something more like rocks. Rocks don't look as pretty. They have cracks. They don't smell as nice. But if you hit a rock, it doesn't break. There's more stability, there's more durability. And that only happens if you let the kid fail and make a mistake. And that's something I hope we let our female students, our girls do, our daughters do, as well as just your kids do in general.
I'd like to open up to questions from the audience. Yi, can you take this microphone? And so we have another planned question, but I'd like to, because I want you to have time to ask questions, so I'd like to go with some questions, and let's start right here.
Yeah. Question for you. So you mentioned about values that you taught after school. Now, you mentioned that you didn't learn them in the high school. So where did you get your values from? How did you learn them?
Yeah.
Can you grab the...
Oh, yes. Then I'll try to repeat the question in case for people maybe on this side who didn't hear. The question was, I didn't learn what my values were in high school. I didn't learn what my priorities were in high school. Nobody taught me, so how did I figure them out? The very short version is I figured them out because I made a bunch of mistakes where I made choices that my body told me I didn't agree with. My friends were like, Carl, that's not what you were going to do, but I still made those choices. And then afterwards I would feel really guilty, I feel really ashamed, I feel really bad. And over time I learned to put names to those feelings and why I had those feelings. Oh, I feel bad because something that's really important to me is integrity, or something that's really important to me is being very curious. And so when I don't ask questions, even though I want to know, I don't feel good about myself. It's because I really value curiosity. Or whatever values that you might have. So for me, it came from making a lot of mistakes and reflecting on why I don't feel good about them. And that helped me realize, it's because I really think something else is very important. And that helps me in the future make fewer mistakes because I'll try to act in alignment with my values.
I'm a parent who, my son just got into Berkeley freshman, and I appreciate you sharing your experience in high school. He hated his high school life. My daughter is third grade now. But right now I have a question for Mr. Sun, and then also for the Chef Chu. What do you think about the campus gun violence nowadays in the country? Other than the gun control issue, because we are here to talk about education and our next generation and the kids, what do you see the fundamental issue that caused so many accidents?
I think it's an excellent question. I will say that it's a cyclical thing. As we all think that right now that everybody's on high alert with regards to violence on school campus and everywhere else, right, regarding active shooting and things of that nature. But when we actually look at the crime history, dating all the way back to 1960, I wasn't born back in the 60s, like Chef Chu here, but I do know the stats. We're not really that bad compared to those years. I know, as parents, that you guys are all concerned. My oldest son actually attends U.S. military academy right now at West Point, and he's a junior there. But they recently had a cadet that went missing who was being treated for depression, and he ended up killing himself on campus. So we do have concerns as parents, right? And me as a law enforcement officer, of course, hearing something like that, could there be potential violence that could happen on school campus? Absolutely. But again, when we look at, dating all the way back to 1960s, and then the violence and property crimes, the ones that we're experiencing right now is not as bad as what we had back in the 60s. Then you start going up, right, all the way up towards the 1980s, late 1980s, and then what do we have? We had, the LA riot and everything else, and then the California legislators ended up enacting 3 strikes, you're out. You guys all remember that 3 strikes, you're out? You commit 3 felonies, that being violent, crime, then you're locked up, 25 years to life. And so that's when the crime actually started coming down from there. And it came down quite a bit until 2014, 2015, there was a Prop 47. And I know that our former mayor, Barry Chang, knows what that is because it was such a big deal that down-classified a lot of felonies down to misdemeanors. And what that meant was, before that Prop 47, if you're in possession of a stolen firearm, which you would see a lot these days, by the way, then you go to jail. Whether the stolen firearm is functioning or not functioning, whether it's $50 or $25, you still get arrested and you go to jail. But we don't do that anymore. After Prop 47, unless that stolen firearm is worth more than $950, guess what's going to happen to that offender who was in possession of a stolen firearm? They get a citation in their hand and they get released from the scene. They're in possession of drugs, hardcore drugs like PCPs or methamphetamines, also known as ice. Unless you possess it with intent to sell, what do you get? You get a citation. You don't even go to jail anymore. So that's why. Now, if you don't get the equal amount of punishment for the crimes that you commit, that's what happens, right? We get a lot of break-ins. We get a lot of people who are possessing firearms while they're walking around, because if they get caught, well, there's no consequence. So, but I just want to assure you, though, that what we're seeing these days, the trend, it's, again, cyclical. So if our legislators do a good job by bringing back those harsher punishments for the crimes that are being committed, and I have no doubt that our crime rate, especially the violence, will absolutely go down. But does your kid go to school here now? There's one that's going to Berkeley, and then where? In Cupertino or Saratoga? You're in good hands, so don't worry about it. Okay. Thank you very much. I think the next one.
Any other questions? Over here. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, still go back to the question, because I heard from the radio, all the candidates running for the Attorney General in San Francisco, they all said Proposition 47 is good, the law is good, except that the operation is bad. So even though one of the candidates said he has 3 cars broken in this summer, so I don't know what to say.
It's all political statement. It's all political statement that they're making, because when Prop 47 was originally authored, 2 main sponsors are from our county, DA Jeff Rosen, and then DA Gascon from San Francisco DA's office. Because their population, they feel that their population is different. The folks that live in San Francisco, because everywhere you go, right, because we are serving 3 cities at the sheriff's office, right, Cupertino, Saratoga, Los Altos Hills. Although these are all in West Valley side, they all have different personalities. Same thing. When San Francisco DA was one of the 2 co-sponsors in this state, out of 58 district attorneys, there were only 2 district attorneys that sponsored that bill that was from San Francisco and from Santa Clara County. So, but if you were to ask me now, once again, is Prop 47 good? Absolutely not. And if you were to ask any police chiefs or law enforcement officers, there is in this state, you ask them that question, they will all unanimously tell you that Prop 47 is what's failing us right now. The trend, crime trend, over the last 2 years, actually 3 years, everywhere else in the U.S., they all experienced a decline in the crime rate, except where? California. California. The number's out there, the data's out there. Prop 47 is not good. It's not being successful at all.
Yeah, I want to add one point. So all the candidates said the crime rate in California went down because Proposition 47, except San Francisco. So I don't know if the statement is true.
So I'm not a math guy, but here's a math guy right here. But I'll tell you something right now. You know, when you talk about statistics, right? I'm not as smart as these folks over here, but there's a, what is it, median vote, right? So we're all talking about the same thing, but at the end of each calculation, well, the numbers are different, right? So it all depends on how they present those numbers, but the bottom line is that, do you feel that the crime rate is high?
Yes.
Do you feel afraid that your car may get broken into?
Yes.
Absolutely. See, that's the thing. It's there. It's real. And so they can play with all the numbers they want, but I will tell you right now, I will give you my assurance that Prop 47 did not succeed. Absolutely not. And there has to be another measure or something like that to change the law. It's not working.
Someone raised their hand here.
Yeah, I probably do that. So I think all of you have made suggestions along the lines of letting your children try different things and encouraging them to explore. But I think for me, and I would guess for other parents, the issue is more that your children don't want to try anything. So, right? So I guess I'm curious as to what suggestions you have for that situation.
If the kids just want to try anything, I think it's parents' fault. You're damn right, it's your fault. Because they spend so much time to make a living, trying to be getting rich. You know, in America, it's I've been here for 55 years, 56 years now. And so we know we came from Taiwan, you know. And then we're all coming for a better life. That's what I'm here for. But better for the next generation, even more important, ourselves. We sacrifice we don't even know our language, we're working very hard for it. We wish the next generation would be better than us. We gotta have that in your mind. Next generation is ours. So how can you let your kids get lost? You should give them a direction. You should encourage whatever they're good at. You use the right words. You can be a tiger mom, tiger father, I don't care. But at least you encourage them. And then you give them all kind of them. You don't give up on the kids. The mother should take them to all the places. That's your job. Oh, I don't have time. I gotta go to a restaurant. I agree. I didn't do a good job. My wife did a hell of a good job. Not only helped me start a restaurant, he raised 5 kids in 7 years. You tell me about how in the world he did it. She's from Taiwan. Does it mean Taiwan mean anything? No. But the education in Taiwan, and it means a lot to them. That means we overcome the obstacle. Sky is the limit. Love your kids. Nothing more important than the parents, not the kids. Let the kids fail. There's a family behind you. Do the thing you want to do. I mean, this kind of guideline, not from the school, is starting from the family. When you're getting dinner together at Sunday night, your grandparents talking, your father talking, you listen, and the grandfather plays you calm. You go up a little bit, you start enjoying that conversation. This is called family value. In Taiwan, every Sunday we do that. In America, only Jewish people do that. They go to Chinese restaurant Sunday night, I'm not kidding you. The Jewish people regularly go to Chinese restaurant. They all get together. They talk about family value. They spend time together. I'm stopping right here.
I have to echo Chef Chu. Yes, I actually do put some responsibility on our parenting. I'm guilty too. My brothers are guilty too. But we have created such a bubble and so much shielding of our children from getting hurt, physically hurt. We have to really encourage them to take some risks. And maybe they don't see us taking those risks. And I think that's what you're saying, Chef Chu, is if we show our kids what our own interests are, our own passions, if we can, peel away some of our own pride and just be silly with our kids, show them the young person we used to be, show them, that we can play. Our children are thirsty and hungry for just playtime. Our youngest kids, they don't know how to play games. Even if it's a traditional card game or mahjong or, going to the local school with a playground ball, a basketball. Even if you're not good at it, your kid wants to learn how to play Foursquare. Your high school kid just wants to see mom and dad play some Wii with them or some, Xbox. You don't have to be good at it, but just show some interest that you're interested in what they're doing. Have them teach you some of these video games. So if you show them that you are vulnerable and that you're taking a risk, they may take some risks. They may try some different things. I agree, I know what you're saying, that they don't want to try anything. It's because I think we've shielded them so much, and that we've structured their lives and their days so much. They go to school, they go to after-school care, they go to violin lessons, they go to AP tutoring sessions, and then it's 9:30, and they haven't had a conversation with you. I'm not condemning you in the audience. I really not. I am as guilty. But we have to let go of some of the structure. Let the kid be a kid. Whether it's a 15-year-old teenage kid or a 7-year-old kid, let them kind of stumble into playing and discovery. And as parents, you do have to guide some weekend trips. Go to Yosemite, go to the park, just go to the local school playground, like I said. Play Monopoly. If it's about money, play Monopoly. If it's chess, teach them how to play chess. Go to the YMCA across the way here. I love seeing families play. I know I'm a crazy lady. Many of my parents think she keeps talking about play. That is what makes us interesting people at Google and at Apple. That makes us interesting people if we play as adults. If we don't play as adults, We're not teaching our children how to be creative and to be risk takers. So if they're limited, if they're not trying something, we gotta look within ourselves. What are we doing? And have we put these away? Let's put these away for a while, parents. When we go to a Chinese restaurant, Chef Chu should say, no cell phones allowed at dinner time. When you come into my restaurant, put those cell phones and iPads away. No phones. We really are, we're a culture of wanting to always post something, we have to see everything. I go to restaurants with my daughter too, I have to put that away, let's talk. And then I see other families, the children are on iPads, everybody's on a device. I go to pho, everybody's on a device. People talk to each other, tell stories. So again, not condemning. My recommendation is if we take risks, if we are silly, our children will be silly and they will be risk takers too.
So we have time for one last question.
I was going to add something, but we want more questions. I'm okay with that.
Oh, last one. I mean, I'm just curious, is there a way you can reverse or stop of Proposition 37? Any like optimization or like website of people, because right now I don't dare go out to watch a movie anymore. So many of my friends are being, broke. Okay.
So that's a challenge. Prop 47 was passed by the residents of California, right? So it was the proposition that got approximately 66% of the California voters. So as many of the elected officials, former elected officials know that it is so difficult to overturn those propositions that were passed by us, the residents. That's the reason why we have to be really educated when we vote on those issues. But the way they sold it, though, was sounded very enticing, right? Very good in a manner that, well, we're going to be able to give a lot of money back to the community, back to schools, which in our schools, I know for a fact that we haven't seen a dime for the last 4 or 5 years, ever since the law was enacted. But there were a lot of movements at the state level, especially at the Sheriff's Association. There are 58 county sheriff's offices in the state. We constantly proposed to the governor and proposed to the state legislature, both Assembly and Senate, to either overturn or to modify the bill, and yet it has been successful because from the state's perspective, it is a huge revenue generator as far as, because I am in charge of the jail as much as I'm in charge of enforcement at the sheriff's office, and we have about 3,500 inmates on a daily basis. We used to have, prior to Prop 47, we used to have close to 5,000 inmates. So each inmate, if you do your own calculation, this is a number that I don't usually generally give out at a public meeting like this, but each inmate costs about $200 per day to house. So if you can imagine, one inmate, 1 year, you do your own calculation as to how much it costs to house each inmate. But if those are the inmates that don't need to be housed as a result of this Prop 47, guess how much the state actually can save, and that they have been saving. And what are they doing with that money? And at the same time, here are our residents whose cars are getting broken into. They're victims. The insurance companies have to pay out, right? So who ends up with the short end of the stick here? Us, the residents, because of the choice that we've made, and that's what we're dealing with right now. So, but back to your question, yes, there is a continuous movement and effort that has been spent, and that we just have not been very successful at it. But that doesn't mean that we cannot continue to try either. So we still have to do our best to be able to make something happen there. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we're going to close it up because some of you all have to go home. So let's give a round of applause to
a little token of thank you for all of you to be here, spend your time and expertise, personal experiences with us, and a little more gift card for coffee so that you can enjoy yourself. And I would like to make a personal donation on behalf of the four of them. Today is happened to be World Polio Day. 1988, the Rotary International and World Health Organization started the Eradicating Polio Initiative. And today, at that time, there was 350,000 cases. Right now, in 2017, 30 years later, there were only 22 cases. Only 3 countries has it, Afghanistan, Nigeria, and Pakistan. And the Gates Foundation is matching $1 Rotary dollar with $2. So on your behalf, I'm going to donate $50 for each one of you. $200, that means $750 to eradicate polio. So thank you very much. That's the whole talk.
thank you all for coming. Look at our